Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer Flanagan. I'm the founder and CEO of Actua. I am very excited today to be joined by Jayson Myers, who is the CEO of Next Generation Manufacturing Canada, or NGen for short. NGen is the nonprofit organization that leads Canada's advanced manufacturing supercluster in building world-class manufacturing capabilities. Today, Jay and I are going to be talking about NGen and specifically about its Careers of the Future campaign and the role that NGen is playing in addressing the ever-present skilled labor shortage in Canada. We're also going to be talking about NGen's program called Careers of the Future, which is an initiative to educate young Canadians about advanced manufacturing and to showcase the wide variety of career opportunities available. We will also talk a little bit about how youth can, or anyone really can kickstart a career in this area where so much growth is happening in the country. So before we talk about this initiative and NGen, I'm going to introduce you to Jay. So Jayson Myers, or Jay for short, is an award-winning business economist specializing in industrial and technological change. He is an advisor to both private and public sector leaders and has counseled Canadian prime ministers, premiers, as well as senior corporate executives and policymakers in Canada and around the world. Previously, between 2007 and 2016, he served as the president and CEO of the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters, Canada's largest industry and trade organization. So, trade association. Welcome, Jay. It's so nice to see you and nice to have this conversation.
Thanks a lot, Jennifer. Great to be with you too.
So I'm going to get right in because we have a lot of questions, a lot of things I want to talk about. So can you just start? I did a brief introduction, but could you tell us in your own words a little bit about NGen and what advanced manufacturing actually is?
Sure. So NGen, as you said, is the not-for-profit organization that's not only leading Canada's advanced manufacturing supercluster. We're focusing on building world-leading advanced manufacturing capabilities in Canada, and we're doing that by supporting this broad ecosystem of research and technology and great workforce and colleges that are providing and universities, and as well as public schools, high schools that are preparing our workforce of the future. We've got lots of innovation centers, lots of startups across Canada. We've got really, really good network of business services to support all of this. And what we're trying to do is bring this all together. Some of our best technologies, our best research, some of the capabilities of our business services and some of our manufacturing capabilities are our best kept secrets in Canada. Yes. And we want to connect, we want to bring the power of all these capabilities together to do something that's really unique in terms of developing solutions that really make a difference for Canadians. And so we're looking beyond just bringing together companies to do business together. This is really looking at the future. It's solving some of the big innovation challenges that not only Canadians face, but the world faces, in order to really to make things that will make a difference for the world. And if you ask me what advanced manufacturing is all about, that's pretty much it. It's certainly making things, that's the manufacturing part of it. It's using advanced technologies in a productive, profitable way, but it's also solving some of the world's biggest challenges, like climate change and food security and healthcare. And certainly over the last couple of years, we've, I think, seen a lot of those challenges become even more evident for Canadians. So, advanced manufacturing is really important, plays a key role, and that's the message that we want to get across to not only Canadians, but to young people too.
And I think that's so, that whole topic that you're talking about is very similar to the work that Actua is doing, where we believe that, of course, STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math, so STEM industries and STEM workers are absolutely instrumental, as you said, in coming up with the solutions to those big world challenges like climate change, like infectious disease, the things you mentioned. Can you give us some specific examples just to help concretize it for people that are watching? How is advanced manufacturing actually doing that? Just, a couple of things that could help people really understand how instrumental advanced manufacturing is.
Sure. So as part of what NGen does, we invest in collaborative projects that really make a difference for the world in advanced manufacturing. So I'll give you some examples of some of those projects. In Southern Ontario, we're supporting the construction of a large facility that will be totally automated to produce new forms of high quality protein from crickets and cricket poop as well. So this is I think it captures the imagination of a lot of people.
Yes.
But what we're doing is bringing advanced equipment, machinery, intelligence. We're networking all of this together, and of course with biologics and with proteins. And what we are developing is a facility then that can be built around the world to process insects for proteins, and possibly for human consumption at some point down the road, but in the short term for pet food, which is a major consumer of meat-based proteins today. So this project has just been named, for instance, by the United Nations as one of the top 10 applications in the world in terms of AI solutions to meet the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And so we're really proud of that project. The only other group that has been recognized in North America in the top 10 was NASA. So we're right up there with the big guys, but it makes a difference for the future food security of the world if we can bring this to and replicate it and scale it up. So we've got turning to climate. One of the projects that we have underway right now is a really neat project to build blocks to replace concrete blocks. Concrete is one of the biggest emitters of carbon dioxide around the world. 8% of the world's emissions come from concrete manufacturing. What these blocks do is take the waste from steel mills, and they inject carbon dioxide in this to come up with construction blocks that are actually better than concrete blocks, and they're cheaper than concrete blocks. And what that does is it's actually not just a net zero, it's a negative carbon building material. So we're extracting carbon from the environment to build this new material. And that's a really good example of what we're calling circular manufacturing of materials. It's a new way to take the waste and byproducts, in this case of CO2 on one hand and steel waste on the other, and develop a product that is actually very, very good for the environment. We've got lots of projects in support of biomanufacturing and the development of new processes to produce personal protective equipment for primarily for COVID, but other applications as well. So these are just some examples of how important advanced manufacturing is today, and bringing new products to market, but also doing that in an environmentally sustainable way and a safe way as well. And there are big commercial opportunities for this around the world. We're supporting those projects. But there are also big benefits for Canadians and people around the world too, if we can help to reduce emissions or secure food supply.
And I mean, those are the kind of examples that you're giving really capture people's imagination and capture especially youth's imagination. What we find at Actua is youth are they're so eager and so creative in terms of, wanting to engage with science and technology, but they also want to have a big social impact. So I think if we can get the message out there that advanced manufacturing is one of the ways that they could actually do that, then I think we'd be a long way ahead in filling some of those gaps. So can you talk about, and you did in those examples, I could see it, but maybe get you to be more specific. Can you tell us how STEM, or science and technology, and traditional manufacturing kind of come together to develop those advanced manufacturing capabilities, and what the importance of STEM skills are to this field?
Right. Well, first of all, I think STEM are really the kind of the learning educational building blocks for not only advanced manufacturing, but for any career in the future. We're living in a world of digital technologies where math and tech and in engineering really become very important parts of what people need to know in order to carry out their jobs, regardless of what those career paths are in the future. But I think it's beyond just sort of the math skills or the scientific knowledge. When we're talking about STEM, we're really talking about a way of understanding an approach to solving problems here. Math is a logic. Science is an approach where you're continually testing hypotheses, and that's so important today to solve big problems. If we're going to address climate change, or as we've seen over the past couple of years, if we're going to address health problems, if we're going to solve some of the issues around water or food security, it has to be based on science, and that's where the technology is going to come from. And frankly, it's what we're seeing today as well in terms of manufacturing, how products are made, is this integration of technology into the products. And we're talking about smart projects, or smart products, smart materials, smart ways of producing those products. But we're integrating the technology into the products, and the requirements around producing these new products in terms of flexibility that companies need to achieve, and the degree of customization and personalization of these products really require, and the quality that's required to do that, and also, of course, to make it cost competitive, requires a much greater degree of scientific understanding about materials and how the materials interact with production processes, and the whole what I would call the scientization of manufacturing is really well underway. So, great opportunity in the future in terms of how we produce things and the products that we're producing and how they can solve big problems. But we need to do that in a way that's scientific, that's based on a really strong understanding of data, of the logic of mathematics, and that's where I think all of this is so interesting. And regardless of what your job is, if it's marketing, if it's in the trades, if it's a technical role or an engineering role, whatever it is, dealing with digital technology, understanding the math, understanding the science is so important today for any career, and particularly in advanced manufacturing.
Absolutely. And what we know also, that combined with what we're looking at in the future, or predicting for the future, which is, huge skilled labor shortage. We know that's going to be from, such a huge part of the manufacturing workforce retiring. Up to 25% will retire by 2030, I think is the number.
Right.
And then young people, are accounting for a much smaller percentage then of the workforce, only about 6%. So you launched this Careers of the Future campaign to address this need. So maybe talk about how that campaign is going to address that urgent demand, and maybe at the same time, if you could talk about some of the career opportunities out there for young people.
Sure. We launched Careers of the Future really to attract young people into careers in advanced manufacturing. And what we wanted to say to everybody, first of all, is that this is such an exciting area with new technology, but particularly for young people who really want to make a difference in the world. You do that by producing stuff.
Yes.
that all of us can use. And electric vehicles, electric cars, a good example. Some of these new materials that are being developed, healthcare products that can actually help individuals with personalized medicine. All of this is now being produced out there in Canada, by the way, by advanced manufacturers. So we wanted to talk about the opportunities and the great things that we're seeing, and make young people and their parents and their teachers really offer them some really great examples of what's going on, really to excite them about a future career in the sector. But as you say, I mean, manufacturing is facing some big demographic problems, and it's not just manufacturing; it's many sectors here across Canada. A lot of people are retiring. My age are retiring, and fewer young people coming in. So we know that manufacturing, in order to continue to grow, if we're going to continue to make things here in Canada, we need to become much more automated. It's going to be a higher tech industry. And so what we're doing, or trying to appeal to young people, is saying, consider a career in advanced manufacturing, but it's going to be a highly skilled career. The types of skills, especially around the use of digital technology and understanding of data and math and science and engineering, is really going to be very, very important in the future. And if we don't have enough people, the solution to that is automation. And
Yes.
right now, Canada has a leading role, not only in automation, but in artificial intelligence and machine learning as well. So this is a huge opportunity. And just to give you an example, in the electric vehicle industry around the world, there aren't enough product engineers on Earth today to design all of the materials and the components and the motors and the powertrain, and let alone the actual models of the cars that have already been announced. So the only way we can solve this problem, sure, we can bring in and attract more young people, and that's very, very important. We need to build a workforce of the future, but we also have to focus on some of the technology solutions that are going to allow us to develop a really vibrant EV industry here in Canada, and in fact around the world. And we do have some very, very important AI technologies here in Canada. So what we're really trying to do is entice young people to look at this industry, not where it is today, but in the future, and to develop those skill sets that we need to have in order to make a successful advanced manufacturing industry here in Canada. But also to say, this is a really dynamic, it's an exciting field to be in, and it's not just people on the production line. It's researchers, it's designers, it's skilled trades, it's art. It's this is open for gamers. Now, if you like playing games, computer games, what better place to do that for the rest of your life than in an engineering design virtual environment, where you can use the latest technologies to design and develop and test all of these great products and processes. So you don't have to give up gaming. You can continue your career in gaming and make it really important in terms of the types of products and what you're doing for the world here as well. So that's the key message. And in terms of the careers, right across the board, you can go into marketing and law and accounting, or you can go into production, or you could go into skilled trades. Or you could go into high tech. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be someone who is contributing in R&D, and all of that is possible within this broad envelope of advanced manufacturing today.
So what are, Actua, we work with young kids, which is really important to start young, building STEM skills. We also work extensively with university and college students. So students who are taking the background education necessary to go into advanced manufacturing, but what are some of the skills you would say that youth in that bracket of undergrad or, college students, what are some of the different skills that they can leverage that will help them lead in advanced manufacturing, other than the STEM skills? We know that those are important.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, problem solving above all. I mean, this is all about trying to solve problems in systematic ways, and that's where STEM, as I was saying before, where STEM and science really come in, because they're not just multiplication tables. These are logical approaches to solving problems, and that's where I think even when we're looking at problems in design or problems in accounting, many of those skills are transferable across there too. So problem solving, working in teams, being collaborative, being able to see the big picture here. So I know a lot of people develop very niche area of skills and technical skills, but I think the work of the future is going to require a broader understanding of the systems that are in place, whether those are business systems, production systems, or social systems, and how companies and governments and academic organizations all need to collaborate to come up with some of these great solutions for the future. So collaboration, teamwork, problem solving, and a very broad systems perspective. I think all of that are really keys to success, particularly in advanced manufacturing. But I don't think any of those skill sets would go amiss in any other area of business either.
You're right. And one of the other things I think that is going to be necessary is really understanding and valuing diverse perspectives, and really understanding that you can come at solving the problems that we're talking about in a whole bunch of different ways, and the best way to do that is by having diversity within the people that are actually solving the problem. So Actua has a huge focus on making sure that we have a good, robust, diverse workforce kind of coming out and being available for these fields, and a big part of that is removing barriers to groups that have traditionally and continue to be very underrepresented in fields like advanced manufacturing. So can you speak a little bit about the importance of diversity and why you think that is critical for the advanced manufacturing field?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, advanced manufacturing is only going to be successful if it actually is able to solve problems for a broader society. So understanding what those problems, what those challenges are, and being able to integrate a broader range of perspectives in trying to solve those problems is really, really important. And I think what we're seeing today, particularly in the area of artificial intelligence, for example, is the need to be more diverse, because narrow views about how to solve a problem just isn't working today. And so we need, as I was saying before, we need a broader systems perspective here, both in if it's developing algorithms for artificial intelligence, but also a broader perspective in terms of trying to prioritize some of the problems that we should be looking at, or understanding how consumers, for instance, would best use products, or how customers would best use products. And that type of understanding really depends on on the engagement of a very diverse workforce. And when people think about manufacturing, often think about just people producing things. I can tell you that the actual production itself is becoming more and more automated, and we still need people producing things, but we also need people thinking and solving problems, and we need people who can see that broader picture in product design. One of the things that I have understood or have found out over the past couple of years is that the majority of product engineers in Canada today who actually do product development and product design and testing are actually women. I didn't know that, but it's a area that really attracts a lot of female participation from engineers and from other diverse groups as well. But I think a part of that is because the successful product design depends on being able to reach out to so many different types of customers, and that's where the diversity really shines through. And of course, from the perspective of a successful business, it's not just the diversity that counts; it's fair treatment of employees, and it's also the being inclusive, engaging employees at every level in the decisions that need to be made that are important for them and that are also important for the organization. And I think today, as companies are facing these innovation challenges, the ability to ask all workers and engage all workers from a perspective of, okay, how would you do this? Are there better ways of that we could run our business? Is so important today, and the companies that do that well are the companies that do grow, and the companies that don't engage their workers, frankly, are not going to be around in 5 years.
There's such a strong economic there's evidence, in fact, for why diverse and inclusive environments are just more powerful, more successful. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that there's that recognition.
No, exactly. And we up to, well, I wouldn't say up to now, but we've tended to look outside of Canada for that diversity.
Yes.
We have so many companies that go to Asia for their IT or for programming and IT, or go to Asia to produce our semiconductors and microchips, or go to Europe to find new technologies and new innovations. And we have this capability here in Canada to do this, but we overlook that. And so, we need to get over the idea that if we're going to innovate, we need to go out to other countries to bring in foreign workers or to count on the skill sets of people in other countries. We have that here, and we can develop that, particularly, as you say, among groups that are fairly underrepresented in advanced manufacturing today. There's probably a lower degree or a higher degree, I guess, of underrepresentation on the manufacturing side and the production side in some of the traditional industries versus on the tech side. And as we move forward, as tech and manufacturing become more and more integrated in the future, and as services become more and more important for manufacturing as well, I think we'll see that change remarkably. But we've got to look today at the opportunities to engage Canadians, young Canadians, the next generation of the workforce here, and it will have to be a much more diverse and inclusive and equitable workplace.
Jay, we just have almost 3 minutes left. Can you tell us where we could get more information? So how could educators or youth or parents who are watching, listening, where are the best places for them to figure out how to either engage themselves or get support?
So take a look at two websites, careersofthefuture.ca, which is our website that has been set up to provide information to young people about careers in advanced manufacturing, and NGen.ca, which is Next Generation Manufacturing Canada's website, and it talks about all of the great projects that we're supporting across the country.
Excellent. That is fantastic. It's so nice to have this conversation, such an important area that certainly more youth need to be aware of. And, Actua is working very hard to make sure that you and your partners have the workers that they need in the future. So great to speak with you, and good luck on this new initiative.
Well, thanks very much, Jennifer. And I want to say as well, what Actua is doing is so important for Canada. So thank you.